Did J. Cole just drop a double album, or did he drop Kendrick Lamar fan fiction?
Please leave your message for 323.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Ugly, waving your hand out the window, check yourself.
Roll your window down, holler from afar.
If I told you I killed that nigga at 16, would you believe me?
If you spot a bill, nigga, like your car.
Latest to eat. If I'm mashing all of my skeletons, would you jump in the sea?
Caught a lot of bodies, so my closet, it got skeletons. Don't believe me, call your favorite rapper for the evidence.
From Compton, USA, made me an angel, an angel.
I'm a small fish from a pond where they crash out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Because after a decade of hype, the fall off sounds less like a magnum opus and more like a bootleg Good Kid, m.A.A.d on disc 29 and a diet GNX on disc 39. Cole spent 10 years promising to change rap, to evolve the game, to deliver something so monumental it would justify the wait, and what we got is a photocopy. Kendrick Cinema with Cole's name on the credits. A greatest hits compilation of someone else's vision. It's like waiting a decade for someone to paint the Sistine Chapel and they show up with traced over photos of the Sistine Chapel, claiming it took them just as long because they had to study every brushstroke before copying it. The audacity to make us wait this long for derivative work is genuinely impressive. This isn't homage, it's not inspiration. This is the musical equivalent of buying the same outfit as your cooler friend and hoping no one notices. Let's break down how Cole tried to remake Kendrick's two most cinematic albums and fumbled the message, the soul, the originality, and somehow his own dignity in the process. Let's start with disc 29. Cole wants you to think this is his Good Kid, m.A.A.d, a coming-of-age movie set in Fayetteville full of gangs, phone calls, gunshots, prayers, and cinematic framing. He wants you to believe he's created his own narrative arc, his own hood classic. But here's the problem, and it's a massive one. Kendrick's GKMC is a tight, day-in-the-life story with purpose and direction. Every voicemail from his mama, every prayer before the chaos, every gunshot that rings out in the night is part of a real, cohesive arc. K-Dot to Kendrick, boy to man, sinner to survivor, temptation to redemption. There's a narrative spine to that album. You can follow Kendrick through Compton like you're riding shotgun, experiencing every wrong turn, every moment of fear, every brush with death. Cole's version? It's all the props with none of the plot, all the aesthetics with none of the architecture. You get the hometown politics, the street danger, the cinematic noise, gunshots for vibes, phone calls for texture, voiceovers for atmosphere, but it's all surface level decoration. There's no discipline, no single cohesive story, no actual journey, just a mood board of hood movie moments scattered across tracks like someone dumped a GKMC DVD commentary into a blender and hit chop. It's like he screen grabbed Good Kid, m.A.A.d frame by frame, took notes in a spiral notebook, and forgot to copy the one thing that mattered, the actual story. Where's the arc, Cole? Where's the transformation? You gave us street vignettes without character development, danger without stakes, and nostalgia without the pain that makes nostalgia meaningful. Kendrick's stories feel lived in. You hear the fear in his voice, the guilt in his confessions, the ugly honesty in every detail. There's sweat in those tracks, real trauma, consequences that haunt the narrator. Cole's disc 29 feels like he copied the shot list from a director's commentary. Same camera angles, same props, none of the emotional weight. It talks like it's deep, gestures toward profundity, but it's soulless. No new perspective, no real risk, just recycled Kendrick tricks with Cole's byline stamped on them. And the worst part? Cole's out here acting like this is groundbreaking territory. My brother in Christ, Kendrick already made this movie, won the Oscar, and you're out here submitting the shot-for-shot remake as your thesis. That's not innovation, that's imitation with a different zip code. Now let's talk about disc 39, because this is where the cosplay gets truly shameless. This is Cole's attempt at Kendrick's GNX, the Pac reincarnation, spiritual weight, what if history went different album that wrestles with legacy and ghosts. Kendrick uses the energy and mythology of Pac legends fueling his pen. It's heavy, it's confrontational, it's a man channeling ancestry to justify his aggression. Cole? He uses Pac in the Big/Pac story to imagine himself as the enlightened guy who broke the cycle by ducking the smoke and walking away.
In love, the choice to be the bigger man. I want to say from the heart, I apologize.
He's rewriting history to crown himself the hero of a fight he never finished. Look at What If. Cole revisits the Biggie/Tupac beef, plays with alternate timelines, invokes spiritual stakes, just like Kendrick leans into reincarnation, legacy, Pac references, and the weight of carrying hip-hop's bloodline on GNX. But where Kendrick uses Pac's spirit as a weapon to sharpen his disses to justify his.
I got this fire burning in me from within. Concentrated thoughts on who I used to be. I'm shedding skin.
I just got finished listening to J. Cole's The Fall Off for the first time.
The Fall Off has been billed as J. Cole's last album.
10 plus years in the making.
W album, Cole.
I didn't need to be 2 discs. It was too long. I didn't need to be a double album.
Listening to this album, I feel like he was overthinking it way too much.
But my main question is, where are the hits?
No matter what Cole does at this point, people are going to critique, they're going to complain more now than ever.
He was teasing this as his best. People were saying that this was going to be album of the decade, including you and I.
Yeah. This album showed me why Cole was my favorite artist.
The album is literally called The Fall Off. So if there's some sort of slight or some moments where you feel like he's not his best or he's not doing what he usually does, go back to the title.
I feel like there's no way this could possibly be the last J. Cole album because it wasn't up to the standard that J. Cole has set for himself.
I don't think he's going to stop making music, but there are references on this project to him saying that, you know, he's out of his deal. And so I think that's probably what it means more than anything.
Before I pressed play, my thought was, J. Cole, this can't be your last album. We just need more music from you, man. We just love you too much for you to stop making music. After finishing the album, my thought now is, J. Cole, this can't be your last album because you need to go out on a higher high.
I feel like J. Cole let that battle get to him. I feel like he's out of touch with himself musically.
Read this quote by J. Cole. He said 2 years ago, after the events that still feed the algorithm to this day, I became incredibly re-inspired. The events that he's talking about is the Kendrick and Drake beef. It was 2 years ago, right? I don't know anyone who would debate that.
Well, first, let me say this. J. Cole is a good rapper. I've said it time and time and time again. J. Cole is a good rapper, and this album is no different, right? He is rapping on this album.
He's rapping, but the rapping does feel a little bit hollow. In songs where he should be talking about, or where he was talking about different concepts and things going on in the city, there's moments where he reverts to rapping about rap in the midst of it. Why the fuck did that nigga tell us he rhymed broke with broke in the midst of a love song?
He said, because of that beef, I became incredibly re-inspired in the album, and this album slowly blossomed into a double disc, and the concept expanded.
Now, mind you, this is a double disc album. There are 24 tracks in total, 12 on each side, right?
It's supposed to be different from the first disc because the first disc was already completed. This was the original Fall Off.
Disc 1 is called 29. Disc 2 is called 39. The reason it's a double disc, I think, is the first half spends most of its time sort of reflectively looking back at his time in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
There's the 29 side where he's looking back to his 29-year-old self. And then, you know, the 39 side where he's looking at his present day life, how he feels. He reflects on the beef. He reflects on a lot of things. He reflects on a lot of the criticism that he has received by backing out of the battle.
So it's a very reflective work. It spends a lot of time on storytelling, which I think is phenomenal. 1 second, pause.
It's a movie. It's all about storytelling. That's what makes a great album. Storytelling on every single level, whether it's your actual story, somebody else's story, or a story that we can enjoy from your depiction.
One of the best ways to me to really connect with people, in this way that I've been talking about all year, saying, hey, real stuff's going on outside, guys. Connect with people on a human level.
There's high moments on this album. Cole definitely tried to turn my TV off. Cole had moments on the album, but they don't compare to Cole's moments.
But where Kendrick uses Pac's spirit as a weapon to sharpen his disses, to justify his ruthlessness, to explain why he had to go nuclear, Cole uses Pac as a shield. He's using the tragedy of dead legends to justify his retreat, to frame his apology tour as wisdom when it really just looks like fear dressed up in philosopher's robes. Kendrick turned his real life, the Drake battle, the stakes, the consequences, into cinema. Cole turned Kendrick's cinema into fan fiction, where he's the protagonist who solved all the problems by not participating. That's not art. That's a self-insert AU where the main character's superpower is conflict avoidance. Kendrick gave us Goodfellas. Cole gave us the straight-to-streaming sequel where the mobster retires to sell smoothies and narrates why violence is bad, actually. The parallels are so blatant, it's embarrassing. GNX wrestles with what it means to carry Pac's torch in modern warfare. Disc 39 uses the same symbolism to pat Cole on the back for not carrying anything at all. One is a warrior claiming his inheritance, the other is a bystander holding a participation trophy. Chapter 3. I Love Her Again, flipping the war into a morality tale, aka the biggest cope in hip-hop history. The centerpiece of Cole's copy-paste cinema and his most elaborate piece of self-mythology is I Love Her Again. He personifies hip-hop as a woman he almost lost, just like Kendrick did, just like Common did 2 decades before. The metaphor itself isn't new, it's practically a hip-hop tradition at this point. But here's the twist, and it's a wild one. Instead of using the metaphor to explain why he declared war and fought to protect the culture, Cole recasts himself as the wise, grown-up peacemaker who's above the war, while subtly framing Kendrick and Drake as immature, ego-driven children trapped in pride and violence. He literally says, I avoided Big and Pac. Not in a humble way, in a hero way. He's basically claiming that by apologizing and stepping back from the beef, he prevented a modern Big/Pac tragedy, creating a multiverse where his maturity and restraint saved lives, preserved friendships, and kept hip-hop intact. Instead of dropping his own Not Like Us moment, his own defining shot in a generational battle, Cole drops I Love Her Again and tells us that backing out was actually him stopping the next Tupac and Biggie situation. He's reframed cowardice as prophecy, retreat as revolution. But let's be brutally honest, this isn't a new message. This isn't even a fresh take. It's a wholesale remix of Kendrick's Gloria and Common's I Used to Love Her, except with all the actual competition, all the danger, all the stakes completely removed and replaced with kumbaya sentiments and elaborate self-justification. Common used the metaphor to mourn commercialization. Kendrick used it to explore complex relationships with fame and artistry. Cole uses it to explain why he quit and somehow makes himself the hero of that story. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. You can't throw shots at someone for years, challenge them to battle, step into the ring, then run out before the first punch and claim you're actually the mature one for leaving. That's not wisdom, that's revisionist history written by the guy who blinked first. Kendrick used Pac's ghost to fight harder. Cole uses Pac's ghost to justify why he stopped fighting and why that makes him special. One is a sword, the other is a security blanket with Tupac's face printed on it. Chapter 4. Copy-Paste Cinema, The Final Roast, No Mercy Edition. Let's call this exactly what it is, with no sugarcoating, no charitable interpretations, no room for debate. Disc 29 copies the entire GKMC skeleton, the hometown setting, the gang politics, the phone calls, the gunshots, the cinematic ambition, without understanding what made that skeleton walk in the first place. It's the structure without the story, the form without the function, the vibes without the vision. Disc 39 copies the GNX/Pac reincarnation structure, the what-if alternate timelines, the invocation of dead legends, the spiritual weight of legacy, but only to paint Cole as the enlightened pacifist while low-key calling the actual soldiers, Kendrick and Drake, immature, ego-driven, and stuck in the past. Here's what kills me. Kendrick made a movie about surviving his city's violence and another about carrying the ghosts of Pac into modern warfare. Cole made a movie about almost beefing, then rolling the credits on himself as the hero for choosing not to. That's not character development, that's character avoidance. That's the hip-hop equivalent of writing a sports movie where the protagonist quits the team in the second act and spends the rest of the runtime explaining why quitting was actually the bravest thing he could do.
Of the past, you know what I'm saying?
I think more than anything, what you have to take out of this album is that this is a love letter to hip hop first and foremost. It's a love letter to Fayetteville, his hometown.
I ain't gonna front. This one makes a strong case.
You know, this first disc is really what's winning me over here.
But you got 29 and 39, 10-year gap. It seems as if between Cole's ages. You know what I mean? From the perspective he's talking from.
Disc 1, these 11, 12 songs. But the Kendrick and Drake beef and everything that transpired after that, with people hating on J. Cole, calling him scary because he backed out the beef, J. Cole releasing diss records, apologizing. He was allegedly re-inspired because of that and added a whole nother disc to the album. This is according to his words, right? Unless I'm misunderstanding. This second disc does not feel that different from the first.
All of the songs that are on my list that I feel that are good, because there are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 songs of the 24 tracks that I think are good. 3 of the songs that are listed here was songs that he teased. He did a good job at teasing the project.
So the project opens up with an interlude with sort of a country acoustic twang in the background. I think that's fitting. 2-6 is the first full song on the project. Love that hook. 2-6 niggas, wow. 2-6 niggas, wow. Hey. Track 3 is called Safety. Probably my favorite song on the project.
Poor thing. He teased that, right? That's a good song, right? That's a good song. I don't know if that is a radio song. I don't know if that's a hit. I think that this album in total lacked that type of hit factor.
I feel like you're getting some of the highest highs of his career. Songs like What If, where he's rapping from the perspectives of Biggie and Tupac and kind of going into, you know, how could that situation have played out differently if they came to terms and, you know, reached a level of peace and understanding within each other, and kind of comparing that to the whole Drake and Kendrick situation in his own ways.
I like the Tupac and Biggie shit. I like that one. The I Love Her Again record. I like that one.
I did like this song though. Track number 8, I Love Her Again.
Like, I was very clear about the songs that I said I liked.
One thing J. Cole, he does not suffer from is creating songs, concepts, coming up with concepts for songs. Had a song about folding clothes, almond milk. Y'all remember that? I never thought I'd be drinking almond milk, right? So song concepts is not something he struggles with.
Bunts Road Blues. Now, I do think that this has some type of potential to be a hit, right? Because Tim's is on it, Future is on it. He has 2 songs with Future on it. Ran a Train too.
Run a Train featuring Future. Future's on this album twice. Future sound great.
Some of the hooks on here weren't for me. Matter of fact, Future on what was that? Run a Train? No, brother. No.
But Ran a Train is not really on my list because to me, Future made that song.
This is a song that's basically about falling out of love with Fayetteville. Sometimes you have the nostalgia of where you grew up, and then you move other places, and you come back home, and then it's not really the same. You're not sure if that's necessarily where you are at that point in life, and sort of struggling with that.
So the Bunts Road Blues, right? I see where they were trying to go. I see where the teams were trying to go, Tim's, Future. I see where they were trying to go with it. I don't know if I hear this on the radio. The melody is a little off. Like the vibe of it is a little off.
If you like J. Cole, you like this album. If you don't like J. Cole, you don't like this album. Ain't no, right now, we're not even, this ain't even it no more. Hip hop, where we are right now, this ain't even it.
You made me proud with this one, my boy. It might not be a lot of people's cup of tea, but it's gonna be your real fans' cup of tea.
You like J. Cole? Masterpiece. You don't like J. Cole? Sleepy time.
This ain't the J. Cole that I've known. You know what I'm saying? I think this might be possibly the worst J. Cole project of his career.
Is this Cole's best rapping album? Like, is he rapping the best? Me personally, I feel like 2014 Forest Hills Drive is his best album, bar none. I feel like that's a bona fide classic. You know what I'm saying? And Born Sinner is really, really good too at rapping.
And it's not bad, it's not terrible. It's just not necessarily good. It's like in that middle area. It's too much middle ground.
This album is good. To me, it didn't meet the hype level that 10 years of waiting brought.
But I think having listened to him, and as y'all can tell probably from the tone and the dramatic pauses, I'm pretty disappointed by this. Underwhelmed is the right word.
This is my least favorite Cole singing project, though. I don't think I liked any of these singing moments off first listen. Now, they might grow on me, because they have before.
I'm not mad at the melodies. Like, that's not my critique of the album. My critique of the album is actually the rapping. He was rapping well, but I didn't feel the passion.
I think that what's really winning me over here is just the passion from Cole and also the songwriting, bro.
Who the F is you? That was another song that he teased. I think that's a good song.
That second half of Who the F is you?
Once again, I don't know if this is a hit.
That we get to the fall off is inevitable. Now, let me tell y'all something.
Cole dissed Kendrick, throwing shots at Kendrick's catalog, questioning his best alive status, subliminal dissing his artistry, positioning himself as in his prime, only to build his final album, the project that's supposed to cement his legacy, almost entirely out of Kendrick templates. Compton coming of age movie on disc 29, Pac Spirit, What If I Had Fought Differently morality play on disc 39. How do you spend a decade clowning another man's body of work, then base your retirement album on his entire blueprint? That's not evolution, that's admission of defeat. That's a surrender document disguised as a double album. That's conceding the argument while pretending you won by forfeit. Cole didn't just lose the war, he let Kendrick ghostwrite the structure, the themes, and the entire creative direction of his final chapter without even stepping in the booth. Kendrick's sitting at home watching Cole perform his greatest hits like, wait, that's my movie. The irony is suffocating. The album that was supposed to prove Cole's greatness instead proves he needed Kendrick's blueprint to even know what greatness looks like.
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
And let's not forget the punchline that makes all of this even more tragic. Cole told us for a decade that the fall off was coming, hyped it like it was going to fundamentally change rap, revolutionize the genre, deliver something so powerful it would redefine what hip hop could be. 10 years of build-up, 10 years of teasing, 10 years of just wait, and the big reveal? He finally finished his Kendrick Lamar cosplay. That's it. That's the decade-long journey. Imagine needing 10 full years to study GKMC and GNX, to annotate them, to reverse engineer them, just to end up tracing them like a kid in art class copying their favorite comic book panel. That's not a magnum opus. That's homework handed in late with someone else's name erased from the top. That's a decade spent in the lab only to discover you've been studying someone else's formula the whole time. You know what you can accomplish in 10 years? Kendrick dropped Good Kid, M.A.A.d City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Mr. M.A.A.d and the Big Steppers, and GNX in roughly that time frame. 5 distinct albums, each with its own voice, vision, and cultural impact. Cole spent the same amount of time learning how to copy 2 of them. That's not artistic growth, that's the world's most expensive and time-consuming tribute act. Closing. Authenticity, originality, and soul, the things Cole forgot to pack. Here's the real problem, the core issue that no amount of production polish or clever wordplay can hide. There's no substance here because Cole's not actually wrestling with anything new, anything original, anything his. He's wrestling with Kendrick's discography. Kendrick was fighting for his soul in that van on GKMC, confronting his relationship with God on m.A.A.d, dissecting generational trauma on Mr. M.A.A.d, and channeling warrior spirits on GNX. Those albums feel lived in. Every voicemail has weight, every prayer has desperation, every gunshot has consequences. You can feel the sweat, the fear, the authenticity. Cole's versions feel like a mood board assembled by someone who studied the films but never lived the life. Same props, none of the pain. Same aesthetic, none of the anguish. Same structure, none of the soul. It's the difference between someone who survived war writing about survival and someone who watched war movies writing about what they think survival looks like. One is testimony, the other is cosplay. J. Cole spent 10 years hyping The Fall Off as the album that would silence doubters and crown him king, only to hand in a bootleg Good Kid, M.A.A.d City on disc 29 and a diet GNX on disc 39, with none of Kendrick's authenticity, originality, or artistic courage. He promised us evolution and gave us imitation. He promised us revolution and gave us regression. He promised us his story and gave us someone else's rough draft. Kendrick turned his real life into cinema. Cole turned Kendrick's cinema into fan fiction, then called it a masterpiece and asked us to pretend we couldn't see the source material bleeding through every track. The elephant in the studio. So drop your thoughts. Is The Fall Off a classic or just an expensive copy? Did Cole really make his own movie, or did he just trace Kendrick's storyboard and change the character names? Because in hip-hop, authenticity is everything, originality is currency, and the only thing worse than losing the war is letting your rival write your ending, which is exactly what happened here. Cole fought Kendrick's ghost for 10 years and lost to it so thoroughly that the ghost ended up directing his final album. The fall off isn't a fall from grace, it's a fall into someone else's shadow, and Cole brought a flashlight to make sure.
How? Hold on, bro. How?
It's be about time.
This 2, track 2 is what it was called when it first came out. But the fall off is inevitable gets better every time you fucking listen to this song.
The fall off is inevitable. I think that's a radio song. I think like that was a smart choice to lead with that song as a single, to drop that ahead of the album.
Every time you listen to the song, the shit keeps getting better and better.
The production on this album is probably easily the most ambitious of Cole's career. There are a whole lot of samples on here, well, a whole lot of recognizable samples. Like he sampled Mobb Deep on here a few times. He interpolated DMX How's It Going Down. He had that Jock Here Longing For sample. That's one of my favorite songs ever, dog. But even though the production was, to me at least, interesting on the album, overall it just felt like the songs didn't necessarily always hit the mark.
One thing that stands out after having listened to J. Cole for almost 2 hours on this double album, when you listen to somebody for this long, the flaws become apparent, right? Which is fine. Everybody has flaws. But when you release an album this long, your flaws become very apparent. This is a big reason why rappers don't release, or a lot of musicians don't release double albums.
I thought that there was gonna be a little more aggression on the album. I think, honestly, I hate to say it, I think a lot of people expected Cole to put us in the moment of him backing out, you know? Although he did it on Port Antonio, I think a lot of people expected that too. Like, put us in the moment for real, for real. Especially when you talked about it in the promo.
You know what I gotta do? I gotta go to the credits. Because the beat change, the beat switch in this shit is amazing.
One thing that began to stand out to me after listening to him for 2 hours is that J. Cole, his beat selection is not, I don't think it's good. Right?
Producers, J. Cole, T-, Vinyls, Steve Bilodeau, Wu-10, FNZ, right? And additional producer Coleman.
I don't really prefer J. Cole's when he raps over his own beats. And even when he gets beats from guys like Tay Beast, Boy Wonder, T-, like, I don't like the beats that he's choosing.
But this album right here in particular, I don't think that the beats are what I expected on every beat. And then I seen, like, you know, we in the group chat, we having conversations, we talking, we going back and forth. Niggas is like, man, I don't like the let out. I think the let out is perfection.
The next song, which I feel is the best song on the project, Life Sentence. I believe this is a dedication to his wife. That's the best song.
I mentioned that Jah Cure Longing for a sample, but I actually didn't even like what him and Burna Boy did with that sample on that song. I'm forgetting the name of the song though. But when Cole locks in, there are some heavy songs on here. Poor Things is nuts. That second half of 39 intro, crazy. That like storytelling stretch of songs on the second half of this too, ridiculous. I think it was like Man Up Above, the comment I used to love her flip. Quick Stop was phenomenal.
Quick Stop is a good song, but it's not a hit.
He did no trend riding, he did no clout chasing. He ain't even speak on the beef at all.
And that's another thing about this project that I do appreciate quite a bit. It lives in storytelling mode. He's not necessarily directly talking about things that happened in the battle.
He ain't speak on it not once. Everybody thought he was gonna speak on it.
Money Spread says that J. Cole album was mid. Look at that face. There's gonna be a lot of that too. 1 second, pause. This next one comes from Forever Blushing. She says, you know something about Cole? Sometimes it's okay to get someone else to do the hook or chorus to the song. LOL. Like, I like Legacy, but someone else should be doing the singy parts. I think Forever Blushing actually hit the nail on the head. 1 second, pause.
I did listen to it through Screwface. I'm not Screwface. Through No Life Shacks. He got 100,000 views. This shit's popping off over there, and a lot of J. Cole fans are in the comments. They're loving this, gang. This is showtime for them, and I'm gonna clap my hands for you. You're excited. Everybody deserves to be excited. Right? If the new Nice and Smooth comes out and I'm a Nice and Smooth fan and I love it, I deserve to love it. I want everybody to be happy, gang.
No matter what the world is saying about this nigga, he gonna be Jermaine Cole at the end of the day. He said, I never get mad if another nigga step in my lane. I never do none of that sucker stuff. I'm gonna remain who I always been this whole
Spiritually
time.
feel bad on me, like,
oh no.
What is this throwing rocks and hiding my hand shit?
What the hell is this nigga apologizing for?
As a J. Cole fan, do you know how many arguments I was going against with niggas telling me that this shit was whack? You know how stupid I look now?
According to Kendrick, it ain't no big three.
Hey, at this point in the game, it is what it is.
Man, I'm gone, bro. Cole, you disappointed me with this one, bro.
The power of the Black Panther. You stripped your own
Will
shit.
Goat, he says, for an album made for 10 years, it seriously lacks any sort of direction at all, extremely hit or miss. Can't believe this is happening. Can't believe this is happening. And Will is a Cole fan. Will is a Cole fan. I looked through his feed. He was like 3 hours till the fall off, 2 hours till the fall off. He was doing a countdown. And now this is where he's at. And so there are some people in the Cole super fan universe who do not feel that strongly about this.
I think he'd benefit greatly from having a great executive producer. I'm not talking about a beat maker, right? When I say executive producer, I'm talking about someone who's going to listen to your completed album. Album done, okay, give it to your executive producer if you think your album's done.
It's none of these songs, when you hear it immediately, you like, that's a hit. And that is a very common characteristic of a hit song, is that as soon as you hear it, you know that it's a hit. Just like when we heard Squabble Up, that snippet, we knew that that was going to be a song. I already compared.
And an executive producer who's going to come in and make these very minor but important changes to certain songs, right? To take the song from a 6 to an 8, from a 5 to an 8. by making these little minute changes.
The fall off isn't a fall from grace, it's a fall into someone else's shadow, and Cole brought a flashlight to make sure we could see every borrowed detail. Until next time, keep your stories real, your classics original, and your blueprints your own.